Hello there, it's Josh here from racingtoprofit.co.uk. I hope you can see and hear me clearly in the bottom right hand corner. Hello, thank you for watching this video. If I keep looking down, it's because I've just pressed play on a stopwatch because I'm quite aware that I can drone on sometimes in these videos, but I want to keep it short and snappy for you if I can. The purpose of this video is to invite you, I suppose, to try my members club, including a 60-day risk-free money-back guarantee. The purpose is to discuss what I hope is an enjoyable and engaging way to enjoy the sport of kings. And of course, importantly, underpinning that is long-term profit, which is always useful in this great game of ours. I thought I would start with a bit of background, kind of 4 lessons I learned from the first year of my racing experience, which was aged 18. I'm from a small town called Mildenhall, which isn't too far from Newmarket, but I didn't get into racing until I went to university in Liverpool. I'm a Liverpool football fan for my sins, so don't hold that against me. But that's what drew me into looking at the city back in, what, 2006 or so. I kind of fell in love with the place a bit, I think. And as I talk to you now, 11 years later, I'm still here. But in that first year, in the October 2007, I went to Aintree for the first time on one of these student ticket. I think I got a free pint and it was half price entry or something for like a fiver. Those were the days. And the likes of Monet's Garden and Court O'Star were running. And the sport started to look interesting to me, but initially it was all about the betting and the gambling, I suppose, naturally being a greedy sod, maybe like what most people do when they get into horse racing. The betting might come first, which is probably the wrong way round, but I did what some do. I Googled to find a tipping service. I got sent a lovely glossy brochure promising me untold riches. That service cost 650 quid for the year, which I thought was the going rate. It's actually quite expensive. And then I dived in, betting £20 a point with a recommended 100-point bank. I couldn't really afford to lose that, and I dived in at too big a level. But kind of to cut a long story short, the 100-point bank got blown. I forever kept thinking a winning run was around the corner, but sadly it wasn't. So that was my first experience, losing a chunk of money, maxing out 2 overdrafts, spending half for bursary, I think, and it would take me, well, 3, 4, 5 years to get out of those overdrafts. So that was a hard way to learn the lesson. But what did I learn, and what have I learned since? Is that it is possible to win on the horses long term. Don't be like me, don't be greedy. It takes time. It's important to build up slowly with whatever approach. After that experience, I stumbled across some very good racing blogs. I bought a few books and I tried to educate myself. And I suppose every day since has been an education. That's the great thing about horse racing, is that you're always learning. You can never kind of master this game fully, I don't think. You always make the odd mistake, always want to be trying to do better over time, but it is possible to win on horses on the long term. I think the key part of that and having an appreciation for the tough times is that a love of the sport is essential. I now love the animals, the people, the sport as it is, and the puzzle first and foremost, I suppose. And that interest in it as a sport is what keeps me going, and that interest in solving the puzzle keeps me going during the odd losing run, which we all have, I think. I certainly do. I won't hide from that. Like I touched on before, the importance of starting small and building up, not diving in, betting the amount of money you can ill afford to lose. It makes the sport very, very unenjoyable and a bit depressing at times, really. And I'll touch on the value point quickly. This isn't something I want to dwell on here, but this took me a while to kind of get. It's a mathematical reality that to win long term, you need to back horses which have a better chance than the market implies. We should always be trying to do that, especially if analysing a race cold. and finding bets, etc. I'm a history and politics graduate. I don't have the sharpest of maths brains. I don't think. I don't think you need to be a maths bod. You don't need to be an Einstein in order to make this game pay long term. Certainly as a recreational punter. But having appreciation of that point there, I think, is important. But I don't want to dwell on that too much more. That first experience, those are the kind of four main things I took from it and have underpinned my racing journey since, I think. And every day, like I said, it's about trying to get better and trying to keep solving the puzzle, which is easier said than done. But my members club is here to try and help us all, including myself, do just that. What is it, I suppose? It's a different way to experience racing. I'd like to think it's personable. It's something I've created kind of back in 2016, and it's developed kind of every year since, really, and it's now in a very, very good place. I put a lot of time, I put a lot of energy, I put myself into the members club. I like to think I'm open, honest, a bit self-deprecating, occasionally humorous, but very engaging and responsive to comments and questions and everything else. And that's the important part for me. I'd like to think it's informative. I have a unique approach to kind of stats and trends and my own way of kind of reading racing, I suppose, as well as all the great members who post comments, which I'll get on into in a moment. It's engaging. I'd like to think it's fun, and it ensures that every day and every week there's something to get stuck into, something to absorb, and hopefully, touch wood, if I do my job properly, adding to your experience of horse racing. Profit, that's important. I'll get onto that in a moment. I've always been keen to kind of form a kind of portfolio, including systematic approaches you can take if you wish. And the four kind of main jump strategies this year are about 222 points in profit. That's a decent amount of £5 bets. I've always wanted to offer choice. I've always wanted to offer simple kind of systems that you can follow to low stakes that have been profitable over time. Like I said, choice, the power is in your hands. I'll get on to a bit more detail in a moment. But the idea has always been to offer a variety of approaches which you can dip in and out of and take time to choose what suits you, whether it's creating a systematic portfolio, following some of my big race tips, following some of the other stats and trends that appear for kind of big races at weekends, diving into some of the comments from my wonderful members. And having said that, moving on to, yes, that community point. Racing can be a lonely place. I don't have many, well, none of my immediate kind of family, none of my friends growing up were into horse racing at all, and they're still not really. I now have some great friends that I've met through the sport, but I think enjoying the sport together and going on that shared experience and that shared journey does add to the excitement and the enjoyment over time. And it can be a lonely place, especially during a losing run, if it's just you. But it's good to, I think, have a community of fellow racing enthusiasts. We can go on that journey together. So they're the kind of four kind of main things underpinning what actually goes on in my members club. But what does it look like in practice? Well, you get a daily members post, which I kind of do in two phases. One the evening before at kind of 6 p.m. Where I post all the stats qualifiers, and the main part, the members post is generally kind of 3 or 4 parts every day. The first part of the stats qualifiers against my trainer track profiles report, that's the one I've been giving away for free. I post those all the evening before, and they form the basis for the strategies and the angles and the systems. There's 4 simple ones, which if you join, you'll be introduced to, that are 222 points up in 2018. A couple of those are kind of bigger odds, low strike rate, longer losing runs, but have a mad kind of return to investment at Betfair SP. A couple of them that are kind of now on about 110 points profit are all odds, but generally they're a bit shorter. They find more winners, they have higher win strike rates, etc. My aim has always been to try and provide a systematic portfolio across the whole year that wins at least 100 points profit. One of the main flat strategies from this year was about 80 points up from a couple of hundred bets, so that did quite well as well. But we're into the main jump season, so I'll stick to that. So you've got that small portfolio of systems you can follow if you want. They average around 1.5 bets a day, so we're not talking kind of masses and kind of 8, 10, 20 bets, which putting that amount of bets on can be far from enjoyable in my own experience. Then there's tips. I've long been best in big races. I won't hide from that. I love kind of big jumps, handicaps, class 2, grade 3. I chase big prices. I'm right often enough. I've pulled in 150 points for the members tips from around 140 bets, most of them to 1 point win. I touch on there the free post profit, mainly because that's all in big races and similar. But I started the free blog in 2013 focusing on mainly long distance big handicap chases, and I've always promised that my focus on those will remain in the free post, and they have done. They're 53 points up from around 110, 105 bets so far this year. And I suppose the important thing there is if we get to the end of this video, and God forbid you haven't been enthused to try my members club, there is always something of quality, I'd like to think, always something every now and then to get stuck into on the free posts. And I appreciate anyone that stops by to read and kind of indulge in the content. So those two combined are, what's that, 372 odd points. Profit just from those kind of 4 simple strategies and my big race tips. They average combined around 2.3 bets per day. They can come in little spikes, of course, but nothing too dramatic, and it allows you and it gives you time and space, I think, to do your own thing as well, and that's important. And the final bullet point here, there's the test zone. I like researching different angles. The main section 1 qualifiers, which I talked about against my track stats, my trainer track stats really, Pat. The test zone is more kind of unique one-off trainer angles, jockey angles. They're combined, all the test zone qualifiers actually are about 112 points up for the year. They do find some big price winners, but that's another great starting point if, and this won't be all of you watching, but if you like using ways in and decent angles as a foundation to then analysing them further and working out what you want to bet on or not, that's a great kind of area, part of the blog. I do a lot of trends, I do a lot of reports, especially for big races at weekends, big meetings as well, especially the spring festivals. I go big on Cheltenham and have a very good record. Touchwood, that continues, looking at the handicaps and other races. But also there's always something to look at and get stuck into. Like I said, the through the cards bit is kind of gets the personable element, I suppose. Actually, one of my members posted today or yesterday asking me to have a flick through the card for Ludlow on Wednesday because he's going racing. I don't mind doing that, time allowing. That gets to the heart of the community and kind of responsive element, I suppose. And yes, that final point, the starting points, all of the content, any horse listed in the Daily Post, you can view as a starting point or a way in. But like I said, I've tried to provide some decent angles and approaches which have been working in live play for a year or more. So that's that really. I suppose I should get on the offer. I hope you're kind of getting an idea of what the Members Club is about. This is your chance to join today. It's a winter season ticket. It's 6 months full access, which takes us through to May time. Importantly, you get a 60-day full money back guarantee. You've got nothing to lose. I'm selling this membership through ClickBank, which is a very well respected kind of seller of things like this. Importantly, your money is safe with them, and you do not have to speak to me if you want to process a refund. All I ask, of course, is you take your time to work out if my approach is for you. Some of you will absolutely love it, I'll be honest. Some of you will get stuck in and kind of 5 weeks down the line or so you think, oh no, it's not for me. You can process a refund through ClickBank, no questions asked, no problem at all. Of course, I hope many of you dive in and give it a good go. The cost, now I'm not one for big build-ups. I pride myself, I think, on pricing things, and certainly my members club, in a fair way for the amount of content and profit that it can deliver. It's priced at 119 quid plus the dreaded VAT. That's a ClickBank thing. Think of the VAT as your fee, or what you're paying, I suppose, for the ability to have a 60-day full money back guarantee. That's how I like to think of it. Of course, now I can do some marketing spiel and break down that cost to make it look even more reasonable. Only £4.95 per week or so it works out that, depending on where you live in the country, depending on the type of beer you like to drink. That's a pint of beer a week, or a kind of more expensive cup of coffee, I suppose, from a Costa or a Starbucks. I think it's reasonable for the content you get, so don't miss out. There are only 200 spaces available. Now, I don't mention members numbers to kind of gloat, really. The blog, the Members Club, started in 2016. That was on the back of kind of 3 years of free blogging, and doing various different other things. And I took a lot of my readership with me then. And there's around 380 members as I speak to you. At least kind of 250 to 280 of those have been with me for over 16 months, many of them since the start. I've been careful to make sure numbers don't affect prices, both of my own content, both of some of the excellent tips as in my members' comments, but also so that I can manage the admin load and any emails and questions and comments, etc. And I suppose only at this point, this is the first time I've done what I would call a proper big launch. Where some of my friends in the racing space have sent emails. That might be how you've heard about me and are watching this video now. But I'm conscious to make sure it's all manageable. So I'm opening up 200 spaces. I think they'll be popular, but maybe that's a bit of a finger in the air job. They could go very quickly. They might not go quickly at all. But this email will have gone out to over 5,000 people from my friends. I've got a kind of couple thousand new people on my email list that have been emailed this as well. So hopefully there's some kind of excitement there and some interest, but time will tell. But the point is, don't delay. If you think this is something you want to try, don't forget you've got that 60-day money back guarantee. Josh, where do I join? Well, you can hit the join button below right now if you so wish. What happens then? You get redirected to my blog, and you get directed to the sign up form where you can put in your name, pick a username, a password. You click next at the bottom of that. You get taken to ClickBank and to their sign up form. You can see all the terms and conditions and everything else. You can pay, and then you'll be redirected and you're all set. You can go back to the blog and you'll be logged in. You'll get sent a welcome email with your username. Note down the password you put in. But if any problems, do email me. There's a welcome email, there's a welcome video explaining everything that goes on in the blog, explaining those 4 start the jump strategies you can follow, some of the tips, my approach to posting when I post, etc., etc. Take your time. That's an important point, going back to some of those lessons I learned originally. Do just take your time. What I do is very, very different to what you'll have seen before. So suspend any belief or thoughts of what you have a racing service is. It's not just tipping. It's not just stats and systems. It's kind of part magazine subscription, I suppose. And you might be thinking, having me having talked for what now, 17 minutes up to this point, I'll try and wrap it up soon enough. But Josh, it sounds complicated. Is it? No. My approach can be as simple or as complex as you make it. There's those simple systems which can take as little as 5 minutes or less a day to log in, see what hits the qualifiers and bet, plus the big race tips. If you decide to follow those, here's the tip, back the tip, job done. That's as simple as it can be, or it can be as complex, using that as your foundation, using all of the information and the thoughts from some of my excellent members as starting points, if you wish, before analysing and picking your own bets. I've always thought the best winner you can back is one that you've picked out yourself. Which is why I've wanted to create a portfolio, a profitable bunch of systems, my own big race tips which have been profitable, but also to give you the space and the information to help pick your own winners. And those kind of 3 things combine, I think, I hope, are what makes my members club different and will make your experience of horse racing more profitable and more enjoyable than ever before. But of course, I want you to put that to the test. You can in part think of it as part magazine subscription. There's always something going on. I do record the odd video. I write about the odd thing. There's always comments to flick through and questions and debate and people testing new ideas, myself talking and reflecting on performance and moving forward and everything else. You can engage in the community. This is the thing I'm most proud of. There's a big group of us who all want to win together. We all want to beat the bookies long term, and there's some excellent tipsters in my comments. Well, one of them is nearly 500 points in profit this year from his tips that he's posted in the members club in 2018 to 1 point each way, averaging 2 to 3 bets a day. Many of us, myself included, have made have done fairly well following him. He's a star. There's another guy who's 100 points up from his tips to starting price. That's just mad. Even bigger if you still have Best Odds Guaranteed account. That chase word there is meant to say chat. I knew I'd spot a typo somewhere, but I'm trying to do this in 1 or 2 takes. So that there's plenty of chat, there's plenty of testing ideas. The idea, like I said, it is one big community. You won't feel alone. You won't feel like you're kind of detached. This is a personable racing experience. It's a personable racing club that I know many of you are going to enjoy. But do I need loads of time every day? No, to reiterate again, in the kind of shortest and easiest way in terms of if you're following the systems or any tips or any members you might start to follow in the comments, that's going to take 5 minutes or less a day. I post up the first iteration of the blog the evening before by 6 p.m. At that point, you have all the information you do need if you've got your head around what the strategies are, and you can bet the evening before if you wish, or you can wait until 8 a.m. Which is when the next day, on the day of racing, I update and add the morning prices next to all of the stats qualifiers. They help me keep results and they determine some of the strategies actually. And I put the strategy symbols next to them. So once you've got your head around what those 4 are, you can just look for those, bet, and that is really a 2-minute job, if that. How much will you win? Well, I don't want to promise untold riches. I'm not going to promise that you're going to win thousands. This 1,860 quid there to £5 bets is real profit in live play from the last year, from those 3 or 4 systems and strategies and my big race bet tips, members tips. If you'd have put £5 on each of them, that is what you'd have won this year. If you'd have put £5 also on the free tips, that's another 250 odd quid there. So that's £2 worth of profit to starting out at a reasonable level of 1,000 if you want to start at £2.50 bets. Start at a level which is manageable for you and enjoyable, and an amount that you're prepared to lose. What if you don't enjoy it? No problem, but please give it a chance. You have a full 60 days to test, prod and settle on an approach. This is a new and different way to betting on horse racing and enjoying it, I think, and I want you to take me up on that 60-day money back offer. You can sign up with a link below. I can't wait to welcome you into our community of racing fans. It's such a fun and profitable way to enjoy racing. I know you won't regret it. You've got nothing to lose. Please don't regret not giving it a go. Clearly, I want more members to join. That's in my benefit. But really, I do honestly believe that many of you watching this are absolutely going to love the approach within my members club and love the experience. And well, we all need to treat ourselves every now and then to a Christmas gift. And this can be your Christmas gift to yourself. What better present is there around? So hopefully you've found that interesting. Hopefully you get an idea of what my members club is. 23 minutes is decent going for me for a video. So if you're still with me now, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Do click the join now button below. It's a fantastic community of people. It's a fantastic portfolio approach to racing, which gives profitable strategies, but also the freedom and independence for you to make your own decisions using my unique information and the hard work and graft that I put in to the content every single day. If you've got any questions, do post a comment on the blog or email me. Remember, it can be as simple or as complicated your experience as you wish to make it. But if the last year is anything to go by, it's not impossible to £5 bets over the next kind of few months. We're winning 1,000, 1,500 quid or more as we move throughout 2019. So I hope that excites you. I hope I've done my members club justice. But remember, you get a 60-day money back guarantee whereby you can join, and if you're not happy at any point in that time, you can get a refund without ever having to without ever needing to speak to me. But please do take the time to indulge in the content and to work out an approach that suits you, because if you do that, I promise you won't regret it, and I know some of you watching here will be in my members club for many years to come. So with that said, hit the join now button below. There's a few quotes below this video from some of my existing members you might want to flick through. You don't have to take my word for it. You can kind of read what some of them have said. Like I said, any questions, you can post a comment on the blog or email me at info@racingtoprofit.co.uk. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have. But for now, get clicking that join now button below. These 200 spaces could be flying off the shelves, touch wood, and once they're gone, they will be gone, and I will shut down I will shut down access to the members club for now. So yes, hit the button for now. I think I've been talking for far too long as it is. Thanks for watching, and yes, hopefully I'll see you on the inside in my members club very, very soon. This is Josh Wright from Racing to Profit saying, see you on the inside in my members club soon, and bye for now.